What happens when one of Hollywood's biggest stars walks onto a late-night stage thinking she owns the place, only to find herself facing a host who refuses to play along? In just 32 seconds, a single comment turned a friendly interview into an explosive showdown that ended with security escorting a duchess out of the building. This is the story of the night Meghan Markle got kicked off Jon Stewart's show. The lights are bright. The audience is packed in tight. Jon Stewart sits behind his desk with that familiar smirk, the one that says he has seen everything and nothing can surprise him anymore. His desk is clean, organized, ready. The cameras are positioned perfectly. The crew has done this 1,000 times before. Tonight's guest is supposed to be special. Meghan Markle, the woman who married into royalty and then walked away from it, is here to talk about her latest projects. The producers are excited. They have been planning this for weeks. The audience is buzzing with anticipation. People in the crowd whisper to each other, wondering what she will say, what stories she will share. This is supposed to be easy, fun, maybe even a little charming. Just another celebrity interview. Just another night of light conversation and laughter. But from the moment Meghan walks out, something feels off. She strides onto the stage like she is walking into her own living room. Her heels click against the floor with each step. Her posture is perfect. Chin up, shoulders back. The applause is loud, the crowd on their feet, but she does not really acknowledge it the way most guests do. Most guests wave, smile big, thank the audience. They soak it in. They show gratitude. But not Meghan. There is no wave, no humble smile, no little bow of appreciation. She just walks straight to the chair, sits down with precision, and crosses her legs. Jon stands up to greet her like he always does, extending his hand with a warm smile, and she takes it with a grip that lasts maybe half a second before she pulls away quickly and adjusts her hair, smoothing it down even though it is already perfect. Jon sits back down. The audience settles into their seats, the chatter fading to silence. He looks down at his notes for a moment, scanning the questions his team prepared, then looks back up at her with a welcoming smile. His whole demeanor is relaxed, friendly. This is his element. This is what he does. "So," Jon begins, leaning forward slightly, "thanks for being here tonight. I know you have a lot going on these days. New projects, new ventures, lots of things in the works. It is really good to have you here with us." Meghan nods, but there is no warmth in it. Her face is pleasant enough, but her eyes are cold. "Of course," she says, her tone almost dismissive. "I mean, your team reached out to me. Multiple times, actually. I figured I would make the time, fit it into my schedule." The audience laughs a little, thinking it is a joke. Some people chuckle nervously. Jon chuckles too, but there is a flicker in his eyes, a tiny shift in his expression. He has been doing this for years. He has interviewed presidents, actors, activists, comedians. He knows when someone is joking around and when someone is testing him. He knows when someone is trying to establish dominance. "Well, we appreciate you making the time," Jon says, keeping it light, keeping it professional. "We know you are busy. I wanted to start by talking about your transition out of royal life. I mean, that must have been a huge decision. Life-changing. Not something you just wake up one day and decide to do." Meghan shifts in her seat, uncrossing and recrossing her legs. "It was necessary," she says flatly, her voice clipped. "When you are in an environment that does not value you, that does not see you for who you really are, that tries to dim your light, you have to take action. You have to stand up for yourself. You have to prioritize yourself and your well-being. No one else is going to do it for you." Jon nods slowly. "Sure, that makes sense. I mean, the whole world was watching that situation unfold in real time. People had a lot of opinions. Everyone had something to say about it. Social media was on fire. News channels covered it non-stop. People always have opinions. Meghan interrupts, her voice sharp. Especially people who have no idea what it is like to live under that kind of scrutiny. People who have never had their every move analyzed, criticized, torn apart. I mean, you sit here every night and make jokes about people, about their lives, about their choices. You do not know what it is like to be on the other side of that. You do not know what it feels like. The audience goes quiet. The energy in the room shifts. People look at each other. Eyebrows raised. Jon raises his eyebrows too. He's still smiling, but it is tighter now, more controlled. Well, Jon says slowly, carefully choosing his words. I have definitely been on the other side of criticism before. Plenty of times, actually. It comes with the job. It comes with putting yourself out there. But I think what people were more concerned with, at least from what I saw, were the contradictions. You know, wanting privacy while simultaneously doing interviews and documentaries. Wanting to step back from the spotlight while staying very much in the spotlight. It is a tricky balance to strike. Meghan leans forward now, her body language aggressive. Her voice gets sharper, louder. Tricky balance? Jon, I do not think you understand what I am saying. I do not think you get it at all. When you are a woman, especially when you are a woman of color, especially when you are trying to use your voice for good, to make a difference in the world, people do not want to hear it. They do not want to listen. They want to tear you down. They want to find every little flaw, every little mistake, and blow it up. They want to make you the villain no matter what you do. Jon holds up a hand, trying to regain control of the conversation. I get that. I really do. I understand that there are unique challenges that come with being a woman in the public eye, being a person of color in the public eye. Those are real things, but I think what people struggle with, what people have a hard time reconciling, is the narrative you are putting out there. You cannot control how people see you when your actions do not always line up with your words, when what you say and what you do seem contradictory. That is not about being a woman or being a person of color. That is just about consistency. And that is about credibility. Meghan's face hardens instantly. Her expression changes from neutral to hostile in a split second. So you are saying I am inconsistent. That is what you are saying right now. You are sitting there telling me that I am a liar, that I am contradicting myself. I am saying that is what some people think, Jon replies, keeping his tone even, refusing to get rattled. And as someone who is in the public eye, as someone who has chosen to remain in the public eye even after leaving royal life, you have to expect that people are going to question things. They are going to analyze what you say, what you do. They are going to compare your words to your actions. That is part of being a public figure. That is part of the deal you make when you stay in the spotlight. Right, Meghan says, her voice absolutely dripping with sarcasm now. So I should just sit here and take it. I should just smile and nod and let people walk all over me while people like you, people with platforms, make assumptions about my life. Make judgments about choices you know nothing about. Choices that were made to protect my family, to protect my mental health. Jon's smile fades completely now. His face becomes serious. I am not making assumptions. I am asking questions based on publicly available information, based on things you have said in interviews, in documentaries, in podcasts. That is what this is. That is what an interview is. It is a conversation where I ask questions and you answer them. That is how this works. Questions that are designed to make me look bad, Meghan snaps. You invited me here to make me look bad. The audience is completely silent now. No one is moving. No one is coughing. No one is whispering. You can feel the tension in the room like a physical thing, pressing down on everyone. Jon sits back in his chair, staring at her, his expression unreadable. I invited you here, Jon says carefully, his voice measured and calm, to have a conversation. An honest conversation. If you think asking basic questions about your public actions, about things you have talked about openly, is an attack, then maybe you are not ready to be here. Maybe you are not ready to have this conversation. Meghan stands up. Not slowly, not gracefully, not with any sense of composure. She shoots out of her chair like she has been insulted beyond belief, like someone just slapped her across the face. Her whole body is tense, rigid with anger. Not ready, she repeats, her voice rising to a near shout now. You do not get to tell me whether I am ready or not. You do not get to sit there in judgment of me. You sit here in your little chair, with your little desk, with your little jokes, and you think you are better than everyone. You think you are so clever, so smart. You think you can judge me? You think you have any right to question me? Jon does not stand. He stays seated, perfectly calm, his hands folded neatly on the desk in front of him. His voice is steady, controlled. I am not judging you. I am interviewing you. That is my job. That is what you signed up for when you agreed to come here. If you cannot handle that, if you cannot handle a few questions, then yeah, maybe you are not ready for this. Meghan's face flushes. She points a finger at him. You know what? This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly the kind of disrespect I have been dealing with for years. I come here, I try to have a conversation, and you twist everything I say. I have not twisted anything, Jon says, his voice firm now. You came here, you insulted me. You insulted this show, and now you are acting like you are the victim. That is not how this works. Oh, so now I am the problem, Meghan says, her voice dripping with contempt. Of course I am. It is always my fault, right? It is never the people who attack me, who lie about me, who make my life hell. It is always me. Jon shakes his head. I did not attack you. I asked you questions. If you cannot tell the difference, that is on you. Meghan's eyes narrow into slits. She leans over the desk now, getting closer to Jon, invading his space. Her voice is low, venomous, shaking with rage. You think you are so smart. You think you are untouchable up here. You think you can say whatever you want, do whatever you want. But you are just another man with a platform who does not know when to shut up. Just another man who thinks he knows everything. The audience gasps. Some people actually gasp out loud. Jon's face hardens. His jaw tightens. He stands up now, slowly, deliberately, taking his time. He looks her directly in the eye. Okay, Jon says, his voice cold. We are done here. What? Meghan says, her voice sharp. We are done, Jon repeats. You came here looking for a fight, and I am not going to give it to you. You can leave. Meghan's mouth falls open. You are kicking me off your show? Yes, Jon says simply. I am. For a moment, Meghan just stares at him. She looks like she cannot believe what is happening. Then she laughs, but it is not a real laugh. It is bitter, sharp, full of anger. Unbelievable, she says. This is unbelievable. You invite me here. You disrespect me. And now you are kicking me out. This is going to look great for you, Jon. Really great. Jon does not flinch. I think it will look fine. You came here, you were rude, and I asked you to leave. That is pretty straightforward. Meghan grabs her purse from the side of the chair. She is shaking, her hands trembling with rage. You have no idea who you are dealing with, she hisses. No idea. Jon crosses his arms. I think I have a pretty good idea. Meghan turns to the audience now, her eyes sweeping across the rows of people sitting there, in shocked silence. You all see this, right? She says, her voice loud and desperate. You see what he is doing right now? He is trying to silence me. He is trying to shut me down because I dared to speak up for myself. He is trying to make me look like the bad guy, like the villain, Because I stood up for myself and refused to let him talk down to me. This is exactly what I have been dealing with for years. This is exactly the kind of treatment that forced me to leave my old life behind. The audience does not respond. They do not clap. They do not cheer. They do not nod in agreement. They just sit there, completely stunned, not sure what to do, not sure what to say. Some people look uncomfortable. Some people look away. No one wants to be part of this. Jon signals to someone off stage. "Can we get security, please?" Meghan's eyes go wide. "Security? Are you serious?" "Very serious," Jon says. "You need to leave." Two security guards appear from the wings. They are wearing dark suits, earpieces, professional demeanor. They are polite, respectful, but firm. They have done this before. They know how to handle situations like this. They approach Meghan carefully, keeping their distance at first, not wanting to escalate things further. "Ma'am," one of them says quietly, his voice calm and measured. "We need you to come with us. We need you to leave the stage now." Meghan looks at them like they are insects, like they are beneath her. Then she looks back at Jon, her eyes burning with fury. Her face is red now, her jaw clenched so tight it looks like it might shatter. "This is ridiculous," she spits out. "This is absolutely ridiculous. You cannot do this to me. Do you know who I am? Do you have any idea who you are dealing with?" "Ma'am," the guard repeats, a little more firmly this time. Meghan jerks her arm away violently from one of the guards who has gently, very gently, tried to guide her toward the exit with a light touch on her elbow. "Do not touch me," she snaps loudly, her voice echoing through the silent studio. "Do not you dare touch me. Get your hands off me." The guards step back immediately, raising their hands slightly, giving her space. But they do not leave. They do not walk away. They just stand there, waiting, patient, doing their job. Meghan turns back to Jon one last time. "You are going to regret this," she says, her voice low and venomous. "You are going to regret this so much." Jon does not respond. He just stands there, arms still crossed, face expressionless. Meghan finally turns and walks toward the exit, her head held high, trying to maintain some shred of dignity. The guards follow her at a respectful distance, not touching her, not saying anything, just making sure she leaves. The audience watches in complete, total silence. Not a sound, not a whisper. You can hear her heels clicking on the floor, each step echoing through the studio, getting quieter and quieter with each passing second until she finally disappears backstage and the sound fades completely. Jon stands there for a long moment, just looking at the empty chair where she had been sitting moments before. He takes a deep breath, lets it out slowly. Then he looks at the camera, and for just a second, you can see the relief on his face. "Well," he says, his voice dry, "that was fun." The audience laughs, nervous at first, and then louder. Jon sits back down at his desk, straightens his papers, and looks at the camera again. "You know," he says, leaning back in his chair, looking straight at the camera, "I have had a lot of guests on this show over the years. Hundreds of guests. Thousands of interviews. Some of them have been difficult. Some of them have been awkward. Some of them have disagreed with me, challenged me, pushed back on my questions. That is fine. That is part of the process. But I have never, and I mean never, had someone come on here and act like the rules do not apply to them. Like they can just say whatever they want, insult whoever they want, disrespect everyone around them, and expect everyone to just sit there and take it. That is not how this works. That is not how any of this works." He pauses, shaking his head slowly, and looking down at his desk for a moment before looking back up. "I get it," Jon continues, his voice softer now, but still firm. I get that she has been through a lot. I get that she feels like the world is against her, like everyone is out to get her. I get that there are legitimate grievances she has, but you cannot walk into a room, any room, and demand respect while simultaneously disrespecting everyone else in that room. You cannot expect people to listen to you, to take you seriously, when you refuse to extend that same courtesy to them. That is not how it works. That is not how any of this works. Respect is a two-way street. Always has been. Always will be. The audience claps. Jon nods, acknowledging them, then leans back in his chair. "So yeah," he says, picking up his cue cards and tapping them against the desk to straighten them. "We are not going to air that interview. We are not going to broadcast it. We are going to move on to other things. We have got other guests lined up, other stories to tell, and honestly, life is way too short to waste time on people who do not want to be here. Life is too short to deal with people who think they are above basic courtesy and respect." He looks directly into the camera now, his expression serious, his voice firm and clear. "If you are going to come on this show," Jon says slowly, making sure every word lands, "you need to be ready to have a conversation. A real, honest, back and forth conversation. Not a performance where you control everything. Not a platform for your grievances where you just talk at people. Not a chance to lecture the audience about how hard your life is. A conversation. A give and take. If you cannot do that, if you cannot handle a few simple questions, if you cannot treat people with basic respect, then do not come. Please. Just do not come. It is that simple. It really is." The audience claps again, louder this time. Jon picks up his cue cards, glances at them, then sets them down. "All right," he says, his tone shifting back to his usual casual rhythm. "We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have got a guest who actually wants to be here and who is not going to insult me for doing my job. Stick around." The lights dim. The audience claps. The cameras cut away. And just like that, it is over. Backstage, Meghan is pacing back and forth in a small hallway like a caged animal. Her heels click rapidly against the concrete floor. Her publicist is on the phone, speaking in hushed, urgent tones, trying to do damage control, trying to figure out what to tell the press. Her assistant is standing nearby, trying to calm her down, trying to get her to sit, to breathe, to relax. But Meghan is not listening. She is furious. Absolutely furious, shaking with rage, her whole body trembling. She is muttering under her breath about how Jon disrespected her, how he humiliated her on national television, how he had no right to treat her that way, how he had no right to ask her those questions. How dare he? How dare he? But out in the studio, Jon is already moving on. He is chatting with the crew between segments, making jokes, laughing, getting ready for the next segment like nothing happened. Because for him, this is just another day, just another night, another guest who could not handle the heat, another person who thought they were special enough to break the rules, special enough to be exempt from basic courtesy and respect. And in the end, Jon was right about everything. He did not regret it. Not for a second. Not for a moment. Because he had done exactly what he needed to do. He had stood his ground, refused to be bullied, refused to be intimidated, and made it crystal clear that no one, not even a duchess, not even someone who married into one of the most famous families in the world, gets to walk onto his stage and act like they own the place. No one gets to come into his house and disrespect him, his crew, his audience. This was never going to end well for Meghan. From the very first moment she walked out onto that stage with that attitude, with that sense of entitlement, with that belief that she could say whatever she wanted without consequences, without pushback, it was only a matter of time before things fell apart. It was inevitable. And when they did fall apart, When it all came crashing down around her, she had no one to blame but herself. She came looking for a platform, looking for sympathy, looking for validation. But she left with a lesson, a hard lesson, a lesson about respect, about humility, about the fact that no matter who you are, no matter what title you once had, no matter how famous you think you are, you do not get to treat people like they are beneath you. Not on Jon Stewart's show. Not anywhere. Never.